This is Evan Centopani. This is Marc-Antoine Andrade, and we're here in New Haven, Connecticut. Just inside 2 weeks out from the Olympia. Had some chest training today. We'll start with dumbbell flies, and then probably move on to a pressing movement, probably 2 pressing movements, and then possibly finish with another fly movement, but nothing's planned, so we'll kind of make it up as we go along. We'll see. All right, so we started the workout with dumbbell flies, 2 weeks out right now, and the amount of weight I'm using, just probably towards the latter part of last week, I started to notice a little slight dip in strength. Nothing terrible, but you know you're getting close. Probably in my better preparations, I've held my strength probably up until about this point. And then notice slight decrease in it, probably about a week, 2 weeks out. There's some movements that will continue to improve, like deadlift, some leg movements, even some back movements. But chest is one of those things, especially with a pressing movement, I notice I start to lose some strength. But anyways, started with dumbbell flies, and I like starting with the dumbbell flies as opposed to just going into heavy bench. I mean, I will still do that on some weeks, but as we're getting closer to get on the bench and attempt to, say, move 4 plates, it's a little bit risky at this point. So I feel it's better to start with the dumbbell flies and get everything nice and pumped up, get a nice pump and everything filled up with blood, and then by the time I move on to a pressing movement, I find it's a little bit more productive. Oh. Yep. Up. There you go. Good. Come on. Push. Good. Come on. Push. Good. Come on, squeeze. That's it. Up. 2 more. Up. After dumbbell flies, we moved on to flat barbell press. And that's one movement that I think, I know a lot of bodybuilders shy away from it, but I like it. I think it's good for your whole upper body, shoulders, triceps, and obviously the main reason we're doing it, chest. So naturally, after pre-exhausting with dumbbell flies, the amount of weight you're going to be able to move is slightly decreased. Probably not a record setter here today, and maybe not the most impressive weight display of strength you've ever seen. But considering the course of exercises and where we are out from the show, it was certainly heavy enough for me. Starting with 315 for a couple sets, and a couple force reps at the end, and then dropping down to 2 plates. Just a nice hold on the negative and also at the top. Just stretch, squeeze, and then same thing down to 1 plate. And be amazed by the time you get down to 1 plate. If 1 plate never felt so heavy. Up. I know a lot of bodybuilders shy away from flat bench because they're worried they're gonna hurt their shoulders or tear a pec. I've never felt uncomfortable on the flat bench, especially if warmed up properly. So I don't know, I would hate to give it up. Come on, go. Just because, especially when I think it's so good especially when you're dieting, trying to retain upper body size overall. It's kind of like, yeah, you can do isolation movements all day long, and just like with legs, you still want to squat. Even though squat might not be the ultimate quad movement, it's still a great lower body movement, and I feel the same way about flat barbell press. So it's I never feel uncomfortable with it. I mean, I would say that if I did, then maybe I would get away from it. But I say if you feel comfortable with it, stick with it, and just listen to yourself. Next, you're going to see we moved on to incline dumbbell press, and it's only a slight incline. And this is actually something I picked up from my buddy Chris Tuttle. Going back a couple months, we trained chest together, and at a point in the workout where I was doing flat bench, he was doing incline dumbbell presses. Slight incline, not a lot of weight, and he didn't want to bench with me. He said that he didn't feel like he really gets a whole lot out of it anymore. And he competed earlier this year, and one of the things I really noticed on him was his chest look. I mean, like it grew like crazy. And I was like, what did you change, in your training? Because your chest looks dramatically different. And he said, to be honest, he was, I just got away from trying to bench heavy, and, try to move a lot of weight. He goes, and I focused a lot more on form and squeezing and whatnot. And while I refuse to entirely give up, the heavy weight and things like that, because I think it's important for your body to feel that weight, especially to retain muscle. There's certainly things about my training that need to change if I want my chest to improve, because it's not where I want it to be. I do think it's on the up and up, but not 100% where I want it to be. But anyways, this is something I incorporated since doing it with him. And I mean, you're going to see, we're only using like 60, 70 pounds. And but just really slowing the reps down, trying to bring the dumbbells out wide, and then really just using the chest to bring them up. I'm going to tell you, it really, really hit him. It really hits the chest. And give it a shot. I know it doesn't look impressive, but you'd be surprised how it feels. Final movement, we went on to the hammer strength, and this is something I've really been using more this year. I've never been a huge fan. I always felt like that was the, the easy way out. That was the Smith machine, that's what the Smith machine is to barbell squats. But again, I keeping my ego and just trying to do heavy bench all the time or heavy dumbbells wasn't really getting me where I want to go. So I figured, all right, well let's give this a shot. So this is something I've been incorporating more, and again, now that we're doing it as the very last movement, again, the weight isn't really so impressive. But again, focusing on the stretch and on the squeeze, and I mean, it really definitely blows my chest up and finishes it off.
Push, push. On. Push. Good. Good force reps here and there. Drop. I'm just gonna go and give me a drop. No, you know what? Give me a couple force reps. Push. Good. Yeah. Go forward. One. Push. Oh.
Certainly not very exciting, but and I know a lot of guys don't even. I think a lot of guys don't even do abs, but I do train every body part. Well, with the exception of forearms, to be totally honest. But I do abs every week. I try to train them, give them their fair share. 3 movements, 3 sets apiece. Starting with just regular crunches, going on to lying leg lifts, and finishing up with rope crunches. I think it's important. I mean, I think if nothing else, I think it definitely improves your core strength and stability and helps keep my back in check, especially when I'm squatting and deadlifting and things like that. I think it helps to balance the muscles between your back and your abdominals. I think that's important. So I think everybody should do abs, even if you're just going to do a few sets every week. Do something for them. And lastly, hit the step mill for a half hour. I also did a half hour this morning at home on the treadmill, and nothing wild, but enough to get me sweating. Don't want to go too nuts at this point. I feel like I'm pretty close to where I want to be, so just doing it to keep the metabolism up and keep utilizing the calories. And I've been steadily increasing some food over the past couple weeks, so in the name of trying to make sure my body utilizes it all, I definitely keep the cardio up. Figured since we're here shooting the vid, I'd hit a couple shots for you guys at the end. And you know, posing is something I always get my balls broken on, saying everybody says my presentation sucks. And to be totally honest, I don't think my mandatories are really so terrible. I really do put a fair amount of effort into it. I really do practice it. And I don't know, I think they're, you know, I think they're decent. Is there room for improvement? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think they're so terrible. But anyways, at this point, practicing posing every day, at least for a half hour or so, and working on a routine, even though it's not something that's scored, it's still something you want to, you know, put something decent together for the crowd. And so we'll see in a couple weeks.